Hey guys, Elisa Mousy here, and welcome to the second, I believe, Dragon Age Origins Codex video. So we might have quite a few, so we, depending, might not get through all of them, but let's see. Don't know if we did Ash Wraiths, so we'll read it. Legend has it that when Andrastea's ashes were taken into hiding, some of her closest disciples gave themselves to the fire, that their restless souls might remain to guard her final resting place forever. Whether they are the spirits of Andraste's disciples, or merely Fade spirits, the temple that houses the sacred urn is filled with wraiths. Created from a burnt corpse, an ash wraith is a powerful and amorphous opponent, able to lash and smother while being immune to most physical attacks. Even if successfully dispersed, it can reform at a later time. Magic is the only real way to fight such a creature, wind and ice attacks being the most useful. They are capable of creating small whirlwinds that are devastating to anyone unfortunate enough to get close, and their touch leaves a person drained. Blighted Werewolf. When a man in West Hill told me about his encounter with a blighted werewolf, I was inclined to believe him. Although werewolves may be abomination of a sort, wolves possessed by rage demons, or so the story goes, it is true that their bodies still live. The blight is known to corrupt bears and wolves in addition to humans, elves, and dwarves, so it is conceivable that any living creature, even a werewolf, is at risk. The man saw the beast ambush a bear, springing from the shadows with such speed that it seemed a blur. The bear was dead within seconds. I thank the Maker that I have never even seen a run-of-the-mill werewolf. I am sure I never want to encounter one that is blighted. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. Charred Sylvan. Occasionally, demons attempt to escape the Fade by possessing something other than mortal flesh. By corrupting a tree, for instance, a demon avoids the madness that results from possessing a sentient creature. Demon-possessed trees are known as wild sylvans. On rare occasions, demon-possessed trees almost completely destroyed by fire, but that still retain a spark of life. This union often rekindles the fire that first damaged the tree, resulting in a sylvan that burns continuously without being destroyed. The Children. Oh yeah, those larva things. The Children appear to be twisted mutations of Darkspawn. They have set even Hurlocks, Genlocks, and Ogres to fleeing. The monsters appear first as Childer grubs, gruesome larval creatures that wriggle on the ground. This is the only vulnerable stage of their development. To squish them is to do the world a favor. Corpse. To anyone who doubts the wickedness of blood magic, I say, with your own hands, strike down the corpses of your own brothers who have fallen in battle to a Maleficar. Then we may discuss morality. Knight Commander Benedictus, in a letter to the Divine, 546 Exalted. The Walking Dead are not, as the superstitious are wont to believe, the living come back for revenge. They are, rather, corpses possessed by demons. The shambling corpse, controlled by a demon of sloth, causes its enemies to become weak and fatigued. Corpses possessed by rage demons go berserk and simply wade into their opponents mindlessly. Devouring corpses are held by hunger demons and feed upon the living. The more powerful demons rarely deign to possess a dead host. Desire Demon. Oh boy, this one's long. In all my studies, I must say that the most intriguing was my interview with the Desire Demon. That the creature was willing to speak with me was a sign that this was no mere monster, mindlessly driven by its nature, but rather a rational being as interested in me as I was in it. It took a form that I would call female, though I had no doubt that it could appear otherwise. I wondered if it appeared as it did because I wanted it to, or because I expected it to. She, and indeed I could only think of her as such now, smiled warmly at me and laughed a musical sound that seemed to thrill my old heart. So frightened was I of this creature's legendary abilities to twist the hearts of men, and so relieved was I when I looked across the table into her dark eyes. This was a fearsome creature of the Fade, but as I spoke with her, I slowly came to realize that this demon was merely as misunderstood as we mages are ourselves. From the journal of former senior enchanter Malleus, once of the Circle of Rivain, declared apostate in 920 Dragon. Of all the threats from beyond the veil, few are more insidious and deceptively deadly than the Desire Demon. In folklore, such demons are characterized as peddlers of lust, luring their prey into a sexual encounter only to be slain at the culmination. While a desire demon can indeed deal in pleasure, in truth, they deal with any manner of desire that humans can possess. Wealth, power, and beauty, to name a few. Far more intelligent than the bestial hunger and rage demons, and more ambitious than the demons of sloth, these dark spirits are among the most skilled at tempting mages into possession. Many who serve the whims of a desire demon never realize it. They are manipulated by illusions and deceit, if not outright mind control, although these demons are reluctant to resort to such crude measures. Instead, they seem to take great pleasure in corruption. The greater the deceit, the greater their victory. Only demons of pride prove more fearsome opponents when roused. Their abilities to affect the mind allow them to assume disguises and even alter the environment to their purposes, not to mention the great strength and speed they possess if they should have to resort to more physical means. Most often, a desire demon will attempt to bargain its way to freedom if overpowered. Many stories exist that depict mages defeating desire demons to the point where a wish can be wrested from them. It should be noted that in such stories, the demon almost always gets the upper hand even when the mage thinks his wish has been granted. Just take a quick water break. Okay, next is dragon. I don't know if we got through any of these, or if just some were new, but... So, apologies for repeats. In fact, a lot of the creature stuff is probably repeats from the main game, but I'm just covering all of it, just in case there's new information. Ugh. And of course, it's not a Codex video until that happens. Dragonlings. Newly hatched dragons are roughly the size of a deer and voraciously hungry. They live for a short time in their mother's lair before venturing out on their own. The slender, wingless creatures are born in vast numbers, as only a few ever make it to adulthood. Drakes. Male dragons never develop into the winged monsters of myth. At most, their forelegs grow the vestigial spurs where wing membrane might have been. Once they have fully matured, males immediately seek out the lairs of adult females. When they find one, they move into her lair and spend the rest of their lives there, hunting for her and defending her young. They will aggressively defend her nest, and many would-be dragon hunters have been lost to their fiery breath and crushing blows from their tails. Dragons. Female dragons take much longer to mature than their male counterparts. They too undergo a metamorphosis of sorts into adulthood, but while males lose the use of their forepaws, females actually grow a third set of limbs, specifically to serve as wings. Young females travel great distances looking for a suitable nesting site. Because of their nomadic habits, these are the dragons most frequently encountered by man. Pride Demon. Let me explain what it is to face a pride demon, my friends. You may scoff and say that our talents only exist to face mages, but you will encounter demons often. They will be summoned by a maleficar and bound to do his bidding, and while at times they will be forced into the possession of a host, they will also face you in their true form. A powerful opponent indeed. Do not underestimate it. Pride is powerful and intelligent. When we have encountered one in its true form, its most common attacks are bolts of fire and ice. Fire they will use to burn an opponent, and the magical flame will combust anything you wear, regardless of make. Ice they will use to freeze an opponent in place. Be cautious, for they enjoy employing this against warriors in particular. More than one group of Templars has made the mistake of attempting to overwhelm a pride demon and suffered the consequences, believe me. And if you think that having the aid of other mages will assist you, you are wrong. Pride demons can render themselves immune to magic for short times, and are adept at dispelling magic that is cast upon you, as much as we Templars are able to disrupt spells. Think on that for a moment, my friends. Be wary of how prideful you become, lest you find too much in common with such a fiend. Transcript of a lecture given by Varen, Templar commander of Tantervale, 686 Steel. Oops, Rage Demon, there we go. Encountered in the Fade, the true form of a Rage Demon is a frightening sight. A thing of pure fire, its body seemingly made of amorphous lava, and its eyes 2 pinpricks of baleful light radiating from its core. The abilities of such a demon center on the fire it generates. It burns those who come near, and the most powerful of its kind are able to lash out with bolts of fire and even firestorms that can affect entire areas. Fortunately, even powerful rage demons are less intelligent than most other varieties. Their tactics are simple. Attack an enemy on sight with as much force as possible until it perishes. Some rage demons carry over their heat-based abilities into possessed hosts, but otherwise the true form is mostly seen outside of the Fade when it's specifically summoned by a mage to do his bidding. Revenant. My archenemies. An entire unit of men all slain by one creature. I didn't believe it at first, your perfection, but it appears that this is so. We have a survivor, and while at first I thought his rantings pure exaggeration, it appears to be no simple skeleton. The descriptions of the creature's abilities were eerily similar to those our brothers at Marnas Pel encountered almost a century ago. Men pulled through the air to skewer themselves on the creature's blade, an attack so quick that it was able to assault multiple opponents at once. Know your perfection. What we have here is indeed a revenant and nothing less. From a letter to Divine Amara III, 571 Exalted. A revenant is a corpse possessed by a demon of pride or of desire, making it amongst the most powerful possessed opponents that one can face. Many possess spells, but most are armed and armored, and prefer the use of their martial talents. They are weak against physical attacks, but regenerate quickly, and commonly use telekinesis to pull opponents into melee range should they try to flee. Revenants also have the ability to strike multiple opponents surrounding them. Stay at range if possible and strike quickly. That is the only way to take such a creature down. Shade. It has often been suggested that the only way for a demon to affect the world of the living is by possessing a living or once living body, but this is not always true. Indeed, a shade is one such creature, a demon in its true form that has adapted to affect the world around it. My hypothesis is this. We already know that many demons become confused when they pass through the veil into our world. They are unable to tell the living from the dead, the very static nature of our universe being confusing to a creature that is accustomed to a physicality defined entirely by emotion and memory. Most demons seek to immediately seize upon anything they perceive as life, jealously attempting to possess it. But what of those that do not? What of those that encounter no life, or fail to possess a body? What of those that are more cautious by their nature? These demons watch. They lurk. They envy. In time, such a demon will learn to drain energy from the psyche of those it encounters, just as it did in the Fade. Once it has drained enough, it has the power to manifest and will forever after be known as a shade. Such a creature spurns possession. It instead floats as a shadow across a piece of land, preying upon the psyche of any who cross its path. Perhaps it believes itself still in the Fade. There is evidence to believe this is so. A shade will weaken the living by its very proximity. If it focuses its will, it can drain a single target very quickly. Some have even been known to assault the minds of a living victim, causing confusion or horror and making the target ripe for the kill. The tragedy of a shade is perhaps that, once it has drained the target whole, its appetite is only heightened rather than slaked. From the Journal of former senior enchanter Malleus, once of the Circle of Ravane, declared apostate in 920 Dragon Age. Skeleton. The demons of the Fade are jealous of the living beings they sense from across the veil. They constantly push against the boundaries of the Fade, and when they finally cross over, they attempt to possess the first living creature they see. They are unable, however, to distinguish that which was once living from that which still is. In fact, a corpse provides an even more tempting target to a weaker demon, as it has no will with which to resist the possession. The demon cannot rationalize why this is so. It only sees a target and grasps at the opportunity. A skeleton is exactly that, a corpse animated by a possessing demon. Upon finding itself trapped within a body that cannot sustain it, the demon is driven insane. It seeks to destroy any life that it encounters, attacking without thought to its own welfare. The exact names given to skeletons of this type vary according to the nature of the demon that possesses them. A fanged skeleton is a skeleton possessed by a hunger demon. I thought that was a devouring skeleton. These skeletons devour whatever life they encounter and often possess the ability to drain life energy and mana from their victims. A shambling skeleton is a slower-moving skeleton possessed by a sloth demon, able to bring entropic powers against its opponents, slowing them and even putting them to sleep. More powerful demons have been known to command skeletons, but at that level they are known by other names, revenants and arcane horrors, to name two. Giant spider. Giant spiders tend to appear in old ruins and other places where the veil has become thin because of magical disturbances or a great number of deaths. In such places, spirits and demons pass into the world of the living and attempt to take control over living beings, spiders among them. Not all scholars accept this explanation for the presence of these beasts, however. Some claim that the thinning veil allows magic to leak from the Fade, tainting such creatures as these spiders to transform into larger and more potent creatures than they ever would become naturally. While such spiders are known to possess powerful poisons and the ability to fling their webs at opponents in combat, studies of them have been few, and the full range of their abilities are unknown. Wild Sylvan. For demons crossing over into our world, mankind is not always the preferred prey. Possessing humans means risking encounters with powerful mages and Templars, as well as other complications. Some demons find it far easier to seek out animals or even plants, assuming that these will make as suitable a host as a human. Those that possess trees are known as wild sylvans. Generally, only demons of rage, the weakest of the demon hierarchy, will become a sylvan. Once they do, they must spend a great deal of time twisting and molding the host in order to make it mobile, and once they have, the sylvan is a powerful and deadly opponent. Other, more intelligent spirits have also been known to become sylvans, and are generally much less violent, but these are rare. Slow but immensely powerful, wild sylvans prefer to lay in ambush, waiting for a victim to become lost, tired, or trapped before closing in for the kill. They hide among regular trees, nearly undetectable until they begin to move and to reach. When they do come to life, as some travelers say, they stand tall, roots forming into legs and feet, and branches stretching out into lashing arms. When not presented with a living target, however, it has been noted that sylvans often fall into a form of dormancy, perhaps brought on by the nature of their tree host. While mobile, they normally return to wherever they were rooted once their prey has been killed. For both of these reasons, a forest that has sylvans within can become incredibly dangerous to pass through for very long periods of time. Tears in the Veil in creatures. Studies of the veil have never been thorough, I guess because it was something that we had to attack. The Tevinters once theorized that the veil is thin in places that have seen great bloodshed. As the Chantry is so fond of reminding us, the Magisters of the Imperium only once crossed physically into the Fade, the catastrophe that blackened the Golden City. As the story goes, the ritual consumed a vast quantity of lyrium and the blood of 100 slaves. But was it the deaths that bridged the worlds, or simply the blood and lyrium? Or both? Demons seize every opportunity, every tear in the veil, to enter our world. Once the veil is torn, it is extremely difficult to mend, some say impossible. From the Lectures of the First Enchanter Wenceslas. Wolf. It is rather unfair the reputation that the wolf possesses in Ferelden. For a people that so clearly adore their hounds, Fereldans simultaneously harbor a distrust of wolves that borders on the unreasonable. Unreasonable, that is, if one were not familiar with the ancient legend regarding werewolves. There was a time in Ferelden's past when demons inhabited the bodies of wolves in great numbers, causing the wars against werewolves and spreading great fear and panic. The werewolves were slain, but even today, the noble wolf is still looked upon with distrust. From Legends of Ferelden by Mother Alis of Denerim, 910 Dragon. An attack by wolves upon civilized folk happens rarely, often only in times of desperation, and even then, only when the wolves have the advantage of numbers. This can change during a blight. When darkspawn rise onto the surface, their presence dramatically alters the savage nature of normal beasts. In blights past, as the corruption of the darkspawn spread through the wilder areas of Thedas, it would infect the animals found there, and the more powerful of them would survive and be transformed into a more vicious and dangerous beast. A blight wolf is one such example, mad with the pain of its infection, and only through the overriding command of the darkspawn does it still retain some semblance of its pack instincts. Blight wolves are always found in large groups and will tend to overwhelm a single target if they can, using their numbers to their advantage. It is fortunate that these creatures rarely survive their corruption for very long. That's it for creatures. Next is culture and history. I think we had the crown and the lion, but it's short, so just to be sure. One Saturnalia long ago, a bevy of bards met in Amaranthine to determine whose song best stirred emotion and whose stomachs best digested foul brew. The first bard fell mid-ballad into his barley soup, the second into the lap of a lass most fair. Some say forfeiture was worth the price. The next could not keep his innards inside. One by one they succumbed to fatigue, boredom, or insobriety. At the end, no man was left standing. There was only I, the lovely and fair Rosalind, master and mistress of the crown and lion, who proved that no man is mightier than the slightest of lasses. From the War of Lions by the bard Rosalind. And the Black Marsh. The Black Marsh is a dreary place, so damp you can feel the chill in your bones. Leave your clothes out to dry for a week, they'll still be cold and wet when you put them on. I called Martin daft when he suggested we move there. An awful place, he said, but also a place where one can make a great deal of money collecting peat. By the maker's soggy underclothes, he was right. From the Journal of Vera, a seamstress. Characters. I'm pretty sure... I know we have that last piece. Let's just start. The Warden Commander gave Anders a kitten as a gift. Anders stowed the kitten, Sir Pounce-a-Lot, in the folds of his robe. Anders' old friend Nemaya revealed that the Templars had moved the phylacteries for most mages in Ferelden, including Anders, to the city of Amaranthine. Anders takes great pride in his appearance and enjoys fine things. Justice. A spirit of justice fought on behalf of the villagers that the Baroness had trapped in the Fade. When the Warden Commander escaped through a tear in the veil, justice was dragged along and deposited in the corpse of the Grey Warden Kristoff. The Baroness's defeat left justice trapped in the mortal world. Believing Kristoff's mission to be worthy, he agreed to travel with the Warden Commander. Kristoff's wife, Aura, arrived at Vigil's Keep. Upon realizing what had become of her husband, she accused Justice of desecrating Kristoff's body. This distressed Justice, who insisted on finding a way to ease Aura's pain. Nathaniel. I'm pretty sure... Yes. So, in a chance encounter with the household groundskeeper, Nathaniel learned that his sister Delilah had married a shopkeeper in the city. Nathaniel was eager to find her. But Delilah was content with her commoner husband and revealed that their father was exactly the tyrant everybody claimed. In time, Nathaniel came to terms with his sister's choices and his family's legacy. Valana. Valana wreaked havoc in the Wending Wood, murdering humans who crossed her path to terrorize the nearby villages into releasing her sister. However, Dissa discovered that Darkspawn were to blame for Valana's sister's disappearance. Hoping to rescue her sister, Valana offered to help the Warden Commander destroy the Darkspawn. An encounter with Valana's former clanmate Marin revealed that the clan had cast Valana out and denounced her anti-human crusade. Valana is fond of the color green, as well as items that remind her of elven culture and nature. Books and songs. Okay. Records of the Black Marsh. Some years ago, a dragon rampaged through the countryside, gorging herself on animals and people. Before long, she nested near the village of Blackmarsh. Fearing she would drag off villagers to feed her young, we sent men to drive the beast away. The men were never seen again. The new Baroness had till then done little for her people, but she emerged from her manor and told us not to worry. She'd been sent from Orlais not just to rule, but to protect. She promised the dragon would be gone by sundown the next day. She set off in the morning, alone. We were certain she'd gone insane. What chance had one woman against a dragon? At sundown there came a loud clap, like thunder, so great it shook the earth. Then our Baroness returned to us, triumphant. Of the dragon there was no sign. The Baroness, no longer aloof, sang and danced with the lowest of us. There were dark whispers that the Baroness was a witch, but we did not care. Her magic had saved us, and for that we loved her. From the records of the village of Blackmarsh. Kristoff Journal. Few in town have heard anything about Darkspawn stragglers. I doubted reports myself until a man told me he encountered Darkspawn in the Blackmarsh. Although locals say the marsh is haunted, brave and desperate souls like this man still risk collecting peat. The man said their leader spoke, but all know Darkspawn cannot talk. More horrifying, he described a monster, a worm with legs. Surely he was mistaken about it following the Darkspawn. I shall leave for the Blackmarsh in the morning. From the Journal of Kristoff, Grey Warden. My throat is starting to go a little bit. Canticle of Mapharath. These verses were carved into statues in the Wending Wood. They appear to be from the Canticle of Mapharath, which the chantry includes among the dissonant verses, unacknowledged in the Chant of Light. Spite ate away all that was good, kind, and loving, till nothing was left but the spite itself, coiled round my heart like a great worm. And in my darkest hour I turned from her and vowed that I would destroy her. At the moment of her death I knew what I had done, and I wept. And she came to me in a vision and laid her hand on my heart. Her touch was like fire that did not burn, and by her touch I was made pure again. Despair not, said she, for your betrayal was Maker blessed, and returned me to his side. I am forgiven. And the Baroness's secret. The veil is weak near the stone circle. Perhaps it's my rituals, but I suspect it has always been weak here. I feel traces of old, ancient magic. Maybe this is what drew me. I think the girls feel it too. As we approached the circle, they sensed something was wrong. With me? Did they fear me? Something about this place is changing them, claiming them for its own. It is conceivable that using their blood to reinvigorate me traps their souls in the Fade. Perhaps they become the same demons, ghosts, and spirits who invade my dreams. No, it doesn't matter. They are nothing. Peasants, while I am a Baroness of Orlais. From the Journal of the Baroness of Blackmarsh. Notes. Letter from the Architect. Utha, I know this has tested your patience. You first gave your blood years ago to further our common dream. I know at times it seems we're going nowhere. Trust me, Utha, I echo your frustration. Vigil's Keep was a setback, yes, but minor. I intend to keep my promise to you. Perhaps you should venture above ground. The greenery and fresh air would do your spirit good. The Architect's Journal. The Seeker collected 2 elves, male and female. The rest died defending their camp. Unfortunate, but a small price to pay. The male has since dashed his head on the wall. Odd. Don't all living beings strive for survival? The Seeker confessed that he did more than simply collect the elves. He found the elves and humans at odds, then exacerbated the conflict by making the humans look responsible for the 2 elves' disappearance. He said he wanted to see how the elf leader would react. Odd again. The female elf has developed a bond of sorts with her guard. Many of the other disciples seem drawn to her as well. The Seeker says her name is Sarani. Perhaps I should speak to her. Maybe she will understand. A letter from Aura. Dear Kristoff, my sister and her babe are well. I shall leave Jader as soon as they are settled. Expect me at Vigil's Keep within the month. Ferelden is cold and wet, so make sure your socks are dry before you put them on. I know how it is with men. You can slay 1,000 Darkspawn, but when it comes to clean clothes and dry socks, you're hopeless. I can't wait to see you. Love, Aura. A miner's letter. Thaddeus, it's too dangerous to work here. Sure, the money's good, but there's been nothing but trouble since we broke into the ruin. The foreman down the shaft, the scaffold on poor Horace. He'd heard voices calling his name. Then the incident with the stew. An eyeball. Something's not right, Thaddeus. Oh, and that carbuncle on my neck is back. I swear it's a Tevinter curse. Half the men have left. I'm leaving today with the next lot. We can find work elsewhere. This isn't the only mine in Ferelden. Carl. The Architect's Notes. These are scribbled on loose sheets of paper, barely decipherable. What happens if the old gods perish? Does the song die with them? The blood is the key. The blood is always the key. The female elf is accommodating, allowing me to take her blood for my work. Perhaps she thinks I'll release her if she cooperates. My disciples report that another elf is rampaging through the woods, killing humans. Revenge for what we did to her kind, only she hasn't seen through the Seeker's ruse. We'll keep this from Serani. If she is upset, she may stop cooperating. Perhaps I should have killed it while it slept. Kill it while it slept. Is that talking about me? Unsure. Orders to the militia. Kendall. The caravans can't get through the woods, and the village is running low on supplies. It's that Dalish clan causing trouble again. I know it. I had my man speak to their keeper several months back, and she, I think it was a she, you can't tell with these elves. Oh my god! Said they'd leave for more remote parts. It looks as though they're back. Likely their stupid land ships blocking the road. They're a stubborn race and more than a little dense. I must trouble you for a favor. Go to the Wending Wood and order them to leave. Mayor Grisby. That was so racist. Let's just see what this says about this. A creature frozen or petrified by magic, as from the spells Petrify or Cone of Cold, is in a vulnerable state, subject to the shattering if excessive force is applied to just the right spot. A critical hit from any weapon may suffice, and the spells Stone Fist and Crushing Prison have been known to achieve the effect as well. Controls. Just so that that's then quest related. Yeah. Carson Wilde's last testament. They came to me for help, these 3 maidens of the Black Marsh. They were young, beautiful, vital, everything she desires. They gave me gold, jewels, and family heirlooms. I imagined their mothers and fathers, uncles and brothers pressing those treasures into their hands, enough to ransom a life promised to their baroness. I agreed to spirit them away from the Black Marsh. She learned of it. She appeared the night before. Her eyes were like flat, dull stones. Her hair was stringy and streaked with gray. And I saw why she needed the women. I hid them in my wagon. The youngest embraced me before she crawled between the bales of hay. She said, "Make her bless and watch over you." I drove them to the crossroads where the Baroness's man waited. He took the wagon. Their families never knew. The witch, as good as her word, brought me a chest of gold. She twirled like a little girl, eyes now sparkling. "You've earned every bit, merchant." The gold was no comfort. I saw their faces on each sovereign, heard their voices in the tinkling of coins. I couldn't bear it. I buried it all in the deepest part of the marsh. Still I found no peace. There will be no peace for me until I stand before the Maker. Karsten Wilde. Attached is a map to the cache. Pretty sure I actually read that. Bonnie's angry letter. Corin, is our relationship a joke? Am I a joke to you? What am I supposed to think waking up to this love note? Follow my trail of love, my darling. You are my hen, the mistress of my flock. You nourish my body and tend to my rooster. Really, Corin? I tend to your rooster? That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You said there was a surprise waiting for me. I'm supposed to follow your trail? Ugh, I despise you. I abhor you, you petty, ill-made wart. You said last week that everything would be different for us. Well, you are right. I am leaving. With venom and spite, Bonnie. And that is it. We are all caught up in the Codex. Wasn't expecting that, but for now, if you liked what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Maybe tap that notification bell to get notified every time I upload. See you on the flip side. Elisa out.